The Great Molasses Flood 1919, a sticky disaster that shook Boston. Welcome to my channel, Ever Rome Adventures and Lifestyle. I will be talking about the Great Molasses Flood that happened in Boston in year 1919. Imagine a calm winter day suddenly turned into a nightmare, a monstrous wave of molasses, thick as tar, surging through the streets, crushing everything in its path. It sounds absurd, almost like a scene out of a surreal nightmare. But for one fateful day, a disaster of sticky proportions claimed lives, razed buildings, and forever altered a city's history. This is the story of a flood that was as sweet as it was deadly, one of the strangest tragedies ever recorded. Stay with us as we peel back the layers of this bizarre, almost unbelievable disaster. In the early 20th century, Boston was a thriving city, a hub of industry and commerce. Among its many enterprises, one stood out: a massive molasses storage tank owned by the United States Industrial Alcohol Company. Intended to supply industrial alcohol and other products, this tank held over 2 million gallons of molasses, a substance that, at first glance, was nothing short of a delight. Expert historians stated that molasses was a key ingredient in everything from rum production to industrial cleaning. In those days, it symbolized both innovation and the sweet rewards of industry. Unbeknownst to many, the tank's structural integrity was compromised, a result of poor construction, inadequate safety measures, and the relentless pressure of 2 million gallons of thick, sticky molasses. The tank was built too quickly, and the materials used were substandard. Over time, the molasses itself exerted tremendous pressure on the walls, setting the stage for catastrophe. The catastrophic moment. At approximately 12:30 p.m., disaster struck. The tank ruptured, releasing a tidal wave of molasses that swept through Boston's North End with terrifying speed. In mere moments, the familiar streets were transformed into a sticky, deadly river. Buildings were knocked down, streets were submerged, and tragically, 21 people lost their lives in this surreal deluge. The force of the molasses was such that it destroyed vehicles and rendered the area nearly impassable. The aftermath and rescue. In the immediate aftermath, chaos reigned. First responders and ordinary citizens alike rushed to help, attempting to rescue those trapped and clear the sticky wreckage. The cleanup process took weeks, and the disaster left a scar on the community that would never fully fade. The Great Molasses Flood wasn't just a natural disaster, it was a tragic failure of industrial regulation. It serves as a sobering reminder of the risks inherent in rapid industrialization, unintended consequences, and lessons learned. Out of the sticky mess of the Great Molasses Flood, important lessons emerged. The tragedy led to stricter building codes and better oversight of industrial projects across the nation. It also changed public perceptions about corporate responsibility and safety standards. A regulatory specialist stated that in many ways, the molasses flood was a catalyst for change. It highlighted the dire need for proper construction practices and the enforcement of safety regulations in industrial operations. Cultural impact and legacy. Today, the Great Molasses Flood is remembered not only as a horrific tragedy, but also as a unique piece of Boston's colorful history. It has inspired art, literature, and even quirky local traditions, reminding us that history, no matter how bizarre, is never far from our everyday lives. Local residents stated that they still talk about it, quoting them saying, "It's a part of who we are, a strange, sticky reminder of our past." Reflections and closing thoughts. The Great Molasses Flood may seem absurd, a sticky, almost surreal disaster that could have been a punchline in a bizarre joke. But for those who lived through it, the tragedy was all too real. It stands as a powerful reminder of our vulnerability in the face of industrial ambition and of the resilience that emerges in its aftermath. As we look back on this unusual chapter of history, let us remember the lives lost, the lessons learned, and the spirit of a community that rose from the most unlikely of disasters. This is history in all its messy, unpredictable glory. Like, subscribe, and share for more deep dives into history's strangest events.